Is Invictus Games truly about honoring veterans? Or has it become another PR circus for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? Picture this, a monumental event meant to celebrate the bravery and sacrifice of our heroes. But instead, the spotlight is hijacked by a royal couple with a history of stirring controversy. What does this mean for the veterans? The ones this event was created for? Are they being sidelined for the sake of headlines? In today's video, we're diving deep into the upcoming Invictus Games in Birmingham, 27. We'll expose the truth behind the funding, the cost to taxpayers, and why the event may be turning into a spectacle that has little to do with the veterans it's supposed to support. But here's the real question. Is this really still about the games? Or is it all about Harry and Meghan stealing the show once again? Stick around, because we're about to pull back the curtain and show you the untold story. If you care about our veterans and want to know if this event is still worth celebrating, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights. When you think of the Invictus Games, what comes to mind? For many of us, it's an inspiring event that shines a much-needed spotlight on the incredible courage of our wounded veterans. It's about them, the men and women who've sacrificed so much for their countries. But when you dig a little deeper, there's a question that keeps coming up. Is the focus still on the veterans? Or has it been lost in a haze of royal PR and celebrity spotlight? Let's break it down. The Invictus Games, founded by Prince Harry, are meant to honor the bravery of our veterans, those who have served, sacrificed, and often paid a physical or emotional price for their service. The idea was revolutionary, an international sporting competition where wounded warriors could compete, not for medals or glory, but to show the world their strength, resilience, and determination. In principle, it was a beautiful cause. But over time, something has shifted. Consider the upcoming 2027 Invictus Games in Birmingham, UK. On the surface, it seems like an incredible opportunity for the city. But when you take a closer look, things start to get murky. The question on everyone's mind is, can Birmingham afford it? And, more importantly, should the taxpayers be footing the bill for an event that's become increasingly intertwined with the royal family's image? Birmingham is a city that, like many others, is facing significant financial strain. Public services are being cut, and citizens are grappling with rising costs of living. And yet, here we are, with an event that could cost millions to host. Where is that money coming from? And should it really be spent on a royal PR event when there are so many more pressing needs in the community? Some people argue that the costs involved, private jets, expensive accommodation, security for Harry and Meghan, are completely out of touch with the average citizen's reality. Why should taxpayers be expected to finance the luxury lifestyles of a couple who claim they want nothing to do with royal duties anymore? Is this really a celebration of the veteran, or has it simply become another stage for Harry and Meghan to remain in the public eye? Now, let's take a step back and look at history. Invictus Games began as an event with a powerful, clear message. It was about honoring the heroes, those who'd been injured in service to their country. But over the years, as Harry and Meghan's personal story has unfolded, the focus has shifted. How many times have we seen Meghan Markle, draped in designer clothes, stepping into the spotlight during these events? How many headlines have been about their private jet trips, their expensive wardrobe, and their celebrity status, rather than the athletes they're supposed to be supporting? And this isn't just a casual observation. This is about the purpose of the games itself. Veterans, after all, should be at the forefront of Invictus Games. They should be celebrated for their bravery, for their ability to push past their physical and mental limits. Yet, time and time again, it seems the media focuses more on Meghan and Harry than on the veterans. What does this mean for the future of the Games? Some say it's time to reassess the patronage. Maybe it's time for a change. The Games were created with such noble intentions, but are they being overshadowed by a couple whose public persona often feels more focused on their own image than on the veterans they claim to support? Birmingham 2027 could be a turning point. There's a very real concern that if the Games continue down this path, they might lose their original purpose. There's an opportunity to refocus on what truly matters, the veterans. But with the media circus that surrounds Harry and Meghan, how likely is it that the Games will ever truly return to their roots? Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think the Invictus Games are still about the veterans? Or have they become just another way for Harry and Meghan to stay relevant? Should the public be asked to fund this event? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is a conversation that needs to happen. and it's one we need to have before it's too late. Stay tuned, because we'll dive even deeper into this topic in just a moment. So, let's take a closer look at the real role Prince Harry and Meghan Markle play in Invictus Games today. It's a question that many of us have been asking for years now. Are they there to genuinely support the veterans? Or is it all just about building their own brand? When Harry first launched the Invictus Games, it seemed like a sincere mission, a way to give back to those who served their countries and paid a hefty price for it. We all thought, this is a cause we can get behind. But over the years, as Harry and Meghan's personal lives unfolded in the media, it has become clear that there's a growing divide between the noble cause of the Invictus Games and the personal agendas of its royal patrons. Let me paint a picture for you. We all remember the headlines when the Sussexes first stepped away from royal duties. Many of us thought, great, maybe now they can focus on their charitable work and really make a difference. But what have we seen instead? A whirlwind of high-profile trips, extravagant wardrobes, and social media posts that, frankly, have often overshadowed the very cause they're supposed to be promoting. Every time they step into the public eye, it's not about the veterans. It's about Harry and Meghan, what they're wearing, where they're going, and how much attention they can grab for themselves. Now, think back to the last Invictus Games. Was it about the athletes, the heroes who fought for our freedom? Or was it about Harry and Meghan parading around, making their usual spectacle? Ask yourself, how many stories from the event focused on the competitors, the real stars of the show, and how many focused on the royal couple? It's hard to ignore the growing trend of their personal lives taking center stage. And it raises a crucial question. Are they truly there for the veterans? Or are they using the veterans to prop up their own public image? Let's not forget the optics here. When Harry steps out in front of the cameras, it's often framed as the Duke of Sussex supporting our wounded warriors. But behind the scenes, there's something a little less clear. Take, for instance, Meghan Markle's involvement in the games. Her presence, while celebrated by some, has often been seen as a distraction. Every time she shows up, there's more attention on her, what she's wearing, what she says, than on the actual athletes. Is that what these veterans deserve? A royal couple using their charity to fuel their personal brand? And then there's the issue of the media. It's no secret that Harry and Meghan have a very cozy relationship with the media. But let's ask ourselves, are they controlling the narrative too much? Are they ensuring that Invictus Games is more about them than the real reason it exists? The veterans? Now, take a moment to think about the legacy of the Invictus Games. When it was founded, it wasn't just about a sporting event. It was about showing the world that the strength of these men and women isn't just physical. It's mental, emotional, and deeply human. But when the focus shifts to Harry and Meghan's private lives, is that message still coming through? Or have we lost sight of the true heroes, those who've been injured serving their country? It's important to ask, is this what Harry envisioned when he started the games? Was this his idea of support for veterans, turning the spotlight on himself and his wife instead of the real heroes of the event? As we look ahead to 2027, when the Invictus Games return to Birmingham, it's becoming clearer that change is needed. Some argue it's time for a fresh face at the helm of the games, someone who truly understands the mission and can keep the focus where it belongs, on the veterans. But, as we've seen with Harry and Meghan, they have a knack for keeping the attention on themselves. So, is it even possible for the games to return to their original purpose? I want to hear from you. Do you think Harry and Meghan's involvement is still beneficial to the Invictus Games? Or do you feel that their PR-driven approach is taking away from the true purpose of the event? Should the focus be entirely on the veterans? Or is it okay for Harry and Meghan to continue as the face of the games? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have this conversation, because it's one we all need to have. Let's take a step back and really think about the heart of the Invictus Games, the veterans. They're the reason this event was created in the first place. It's not about a celebrity couple seeking the spotlight. It's about men and women who have given their all for their countries, often sacrificing their bodies and minds in ways most of us can't even begin to imagine. But are they really getting the focus they deserve? Look at what's happening now. The Invictus Games should be a stage to showcase the incredible resilience of these athletes. Yet, more and more, it feels like the true purpose of the event is slipping away. How often have we seen veterans pushed to the background, while Harry and Meghan are the ones making headlines? When was the last time the stories coming out of the Invictus Games were about the athletes? About their journeys, their victories, their struggles? Instead, we often hear about Meghan's fashion choices or Harry's latest public statement. Is this how we should be honoring those who served? We need to ask ourselves, how did we get here? These games were meant to lift up our veterans, to remind us of their sacrifice and bravery. But over time, especially with the increasing media focus on the Sussexes, the veterans seem to be getting lost in the shuffle. And that's not to say that Harry's work isn't valuable, but should he be the main focus? Should he be the one to take center stage in an event that was created to honor the very people he claims to support? What's even more concerning is the ongoing financial burden these events place on the host cities. Look at the numbers. Birmingham, for example, is already struggling financially. The city is in debt, yet it is expected to bear the costs of hosting a global event. Where is all the money going? How much of it is being funneled into security for Harry and Meghan? Into luxury accommodations for them, rather than into the programs and services that should be going to the veterans themselves? Let's compare this to the original vision of the Games. When Prince Harry first came up with the idea, it was revolutionary, an event to honor the strength and spirit of wounded warriors. It was about celebrating these brave men and women. But now, it's hard to ignore the shift in focus. The Games have evolved into something more about branding, more about media presence, more about Harry and Meghan's personal narrative. Is this fair to the veterans? And let's not forget the veterans themselves. They've been the backbone of the Invictus Games from the very beginning. They're the ones who have to fight their battles every single day. So, shouldn't they be the ones we hear the most about? Shouldn't their stories be the ones that lead the headlines? If you were a veteran, how would you feel seeing the very event you've poured your heart into being overshadowed by a royal couple's quest for attention? Now, I want you to really think about it. Are we doing justice to the veterans if we allow their stories to be drowned out by the noise of celebrity culture? Or should we demand a return to the Game's original mission? Should we be asking ourselves whether Harry and Meghan are truly the right figures to lead this event? Or whether it's time for fresh leadership, someone who can put the focus back where it belongs, on the veterans? I'm really curious to hear what you think. Do you believe that the Invictus Games should still be about the veterans? Or has it become too much about Harry and Meghan? What needs to change? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's have an honest discussion about this. Because, at the end of the day, it's the veterans who deserve our full attention and respect. As we approach 2027, with the Invictus Games set to return to Birmingham, there's a growing sense of unease. Will this event return to its roots? Or is it destined to become more of the same spectacle we've seen in the past? As the days go by, the big question looms, can we truly honor our veterans while continuing down this path, with Harry and Meghan at the forefront? It's not hard to see why many are skeptical. The Games, once seen as a platform for veterans to reclaim their power and spirit, have increasingly become a stage for a royal couple to shine. In some ways, it's almost as if the focus has shifted from the warriors to the spectacle, shiny clothes, staged smiles, and headlines full of their every move. But is this fair? Is it right to let a few individuals, however well-intentioned, control the narrative of an event meant to showcase the courage and resilience of those who've sacrificed everything for their countries? Look back at the beginning. When Harry first founded Invictus Game, the world saw something revolutionary, a competition for wounded veterans, a chance for them to show the world their strength, both physical and mental. But over time, the Games became tied to Harry and Meghan's personal story. Instead of hearing about the incredible feats of the veterans, we found ourselves caught up in the Sussexes' lives, where they were, who they were with, and what they were wearing. Can we honestly say the focus has stayed where it should be? And let's talk about the cost. Birmingham, already struggling with significant financial issues, is set to host the Games in 2027. But can it really afford the price tag? The expenses associated with hosting an event of this magnitude are astronomical. There's no denying that the costs, especially the security required for Harry and Meghan, will stretch the budget to its limits. Should taxpayers, many of whom are facing their own financial challenges, be asked to bear the brunt of this expense? Especially when the money could be better used to support the veterans directly or improve local community services? Then there's the matter of leadership. Many believe it's time for a change. The current model, with Harry as the face of Invictus, has reached its limits. Is it time to bring in a new patron? Someone with a deeper connection to the veterans. Someone who can ensure the focus returns to the athletes themselves? A figure who understands the true purpose of the Games and can keep the attention on what really matters, the brave men and women who take part. After all, Invictus was never meant to be about one family or one couple. It was meant to honor the men and women who, through no fault of their own, find themselves battling the scars of war. Let's consider the future. If we keep going down this road with the attention firmly on Harry and Meghan, will the Invictus Games be remembered for its impact on veterans? Or will it go down as another celebrity-fueled event that lost its way? Should we be worried that in 2027, we might see more of the Sussex's latest PR moves and fewer stories about the veterans? The very people who need our attention, our respect, and our support. As we get closer to the games, we need to ask ourselves, do we want to keep supporting this narrative? Or do we need to demand a shift back to the original mission? Do the veterans deserve better than a spectacle that focuses on the personal brand of two individuals, no matter how well-meaning they may be? I want to hear from you. What do you think? Is it time for a change in leadership at Invictus Games? Should the focus return to the veterans, where it belongs? Or do you believe Harry and Meghan still have a place at the helm? Share your thoughts with me in the comments below. Let's get this conversation started. As we wrap up today's discussion, it's clear that the Invictus Games are at a crossroads. The original mission to honor and support our veterans has been overshadowed by the ever-present spotlight on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. While their involvement certainly brought attention to the Games, the question remains, is it still about the veterans, or has it become more about royal PR? And with the 2027 Games on the horizon, can we truly return the focus to those who matter most, our wounded heroes? We've explored how the Games have shifted over time, from a heartfelt tribute to veterans to what many now see as another spectacle. And with Birmingham struggling financially, can we afford to continue down this path? Should we demand a change in leadership to bring the focus back where it belongs? It's up to us to decide what we want the Invictus Games to represent in the future. So, I'm turning the conversation over to you. What do you think? Is it time for a change at the top? Should we move forward with fresh leadership? Or do you believe Harry and Meghan still have a role to play? Your opinion matters, and I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the Kate Middleton and the Queen YouTube channel for more in-depth analyses and discussions on all things royal. We dive deep into the latest stories, bringing you insights you won't find anywhere else. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's keep this conversation going, because when it comes to the royal family, the truth always deserves to be heard.